Okay, guys, day four, and we're going to recap something today, something extremely powerful. And I told you that a lot of stuff that we're going to do with regard to our mindsets and our thinking is going to come from Atomic Habits. And I want to read you a story from this book that I've read to some of you in group before, some of you more recently than others. But I want to get it in this challenge because it's incredibly important. And I think it's really relevant right now because we're in the middle of the Paralympics, and we have just picked up at the weekend a handful, an absolute handful, mittful of golds in the indoor cycling. So I'm going to read an article to you from here, and I really want to get it across to you as powerfully as I can. The fate of British cycling changed one day in 2003. The organisation, which was the governing body for professional cycling in Great Britain, had recently hired Dave Brailsford as its new performance director. At the time, professional cyclists in Great Britain had endured nearly 100 years of mediocrity. Since 1908, British riders had won just a single gold medal at the Olympic Games, and they had fared even worse in cycling's biggest race, the Tour de France. In 110 years, no British cyclist had ever won this event. In fact, the performance of... I find this actually astonishing. Listen to this, guys. The performance of British riders had been so underwhelming that one of the top bike manufacturers in Europe refused to sell bikes to the team because they were afraid that it would hurt sales if other professionals saw the Brits using their gear. My wife has just upgraded her bike, and it's a 7.5 grand bike. And I think to myself, some of these bikes that these guys ride, they're like 10, 20 grand. This is just... And you won't sell them? Really? Brailsford had been hired to put British cycling on a new trajectory. What made him different from previous coaches was his relentless commitment to a strategy that he referred to as the aggregation of marginal gains. This is the philosophy of searching for a tiny margin of improvement in everything that you do. Brailsford said the whole principle came from the idea that if you broke down everything that you could think of that goes into riding a bike and then improved it by just 1%, you'd get a significant increase when you put it all together. Brailsford and his coaches began by making small adjustments that you might expect from a professional cycling team. Let's get rid of that call. They redesigned the bike seats to make them more comfortable, and they rubbed alcohol on the tyres for a better grip. They asked riders to wear electrically heated overshorts to maintain ideal muscle temperature while riding, and they used biofeedback sensors to monitor how each athlete responded to a particular workout. The team tested various fabrics in a wind tunnel and had their outdoor riders switch to indoor racing suits, which proved to be lighter and more aerodynamic. But they didn't stop there. Brailsford and his team continued to find 1% improvements in overlooked and unexpected areas. They tested different types of massage gels to see which one led to the fastest muscle recovery. They hired a surgeon to teach each rider the best way to wash their hands to reduce the chances of catching a cold. This is my favourite. They determined the type of pillow and mattress that led to the best night's sleep for each individual rider. They even painted the inside of the team truck white, which helped them spot little bits of dust that would normally slip by unnoticed but could degrade the performance of the finely tuned bikes. As these and hundreds of other small improvements accumulated, the results came faster than anyone could have imagined. Just 5 years after Brailsford took over, the British cycling team dominated the road and track cycling events of the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, where they won an astounding 60% of the gold medals available. 4 years later, when the Games came to London, the Brits raised the bar as they set 9 Olympic records and 7 world records. That same year, Bradley Wiggins became the first British cyclist to win the Tour de France. The next year, his teammate Chris Froome won it, and he went on to win it again in 2015, 2016 and 2017, giving the British team 5 Tour de France victories in 6 years. During the 10-year span from 2007 to 2017, British cyclists won 178 World Championships and 66 Olympic or Paralympic gold medals and captured 5 Tour de France victories in what is widely regarded as the most successful run in cycling history ever. How does this happen? How does a team of previously ordinary athletes transform into world champions with tiny changes that at first glance would seem to make a modest difference at best? Why do small improvements accumulate into such remarkable results? And how can you replicate this approach in your own life? Wow. Powerful, powerful stuff. 1% changes, guys. 1% changes in lots of different areas that accumulate together. How many of us are all or nothing? How many of us are, I must do this 100%, or I need to change that completely, or this week I won't do that at all, or this week I'll train 6 days out of 7. And we give ourselves these huge goals. We restrict ourselves so much. We make it so difficult for ourselves. And then we wonder why we go wrong. This guy is talking about tiny changes, remarkable results, little things. What are the little things that you could change this week, today, that will accumulate over time? Do you know that if you just lose a pound a week, you'll lose 3 stone 10 in a year? If I'd have just stuck with it at the beginning of this year when I was so annoyed that my weight loss was slow at a pound a week, guys, I would be 2.5 stone lighter now. But I didn't. I threw my toys out the pram and I sulked at my menopausal body, and I shouldn't have done. 1%, we despise the day of small beginnings. We're not interested in little things, but gang, we've got to be. Little things done consistently, that's what's going to make the difference for us. So that's today's thought. In a nutshell, what can you change by just 1%? 1% today that you can change consistently, that you can see yourself sticking with consistently, that's going to make a massive difference to your weight loss. Over and out. Have a great day, guys.